Imagine how amazing your life would be if you could accept the fact that the greatest decision that can change your life comes from you. Hello, my name is Kekeli. If you are new to this channel, please do me a favor by hitting the subscription button so that anytime we upload a new video on purpose and how to achieve your greatness, you'll be the first to receive it. Today we want to look at lessons from the parable of the prodigal son in Luke chapter 15 verse 11 to 32. Before we look at the lessons we can learn from the parable of the prodigal son, let's look at the antecedents of the parable. In Luke chapter 15, we were told that the scribes and the Pharisees came to Jesus and they were wondering, if Jesus is a true prophet, how can he be eating with sinners and tax collectors? And Jesus, in response to the accusation, gave them three parables. So in that particular chapter, we have three parables in there: the parable of the good shepherd, the parable of the lost coin, and then the parable of the prodigal son. Today we just want to look at the lessons we can learn from the parable of the prodigal son. In the parable of the prodigal son, we have three characters in there. We have the father as one character, then two brothers as different characters, and then the one brother was noted as a prodigal son, meaning he loves to live an extravagant. The first lesson we can learn from the parable is the lesson of decision. We were told that the younger son, the one that is noted to be living extravagant life, woke up one day and told the father, "Father, I need my portion of my inheritance." The father, as loving as he was, didn't hesitate. He gave it to him. And then the son traveled to a distant land and spent all that he was given. The question now is, who do you think will be influencing that particular decision? Probably his friends, because he's noted to be living extravagant life. It means that he has friends that advises him. He has been seeing his friends that have been living those kind of lives, so he wanted to be like them. But life is lived one at a time. We don't have to look at others and try to live our lives like them. We have to wait. And then we also learned that he traveled to a distant land, meaning that he took a decision and then taking the father out of the equation. And we were taught that the father is a significant or signifies God. When we are making a decision and we take God out of the equation, it means that we are already on the journey to distraction. Anytime we are making a decision, we should make God the central focus, the central point of the decision that we are taking, because without God, there is nothing we can achieve. The second lesson we can learn from the parable is the lesson of responsibility. We were told that he traveled to a distant land and then squandered all that he had. But after that, he looked at himself and said, "No, I can't remain in this situation." He went ahead to go and look for a job. When things happen to us in life, we tend to blame others. We don't accept responsibility to change our lives. You see, when something is happening to you in your life, the first thing you have to do is to accept responsibility. Your first mistake is not the end of your life. Ask yourself, what can I do to make my life better? Many of us are expecting God to help us go to school, but you have not even bought any form. You haven't applied to any school. Many of us want money, but you didn't even apply to any job. You are not searching for a job. How can God bless you? Accept responsibility for your life. Sometimes you are waiting on God to help us, but we are not ready to take the responsibility. And no matter what you have done, it is not too late. All you need to do is to accept the fact that no matter how far you have come, there is a second chance for you. And all you have to do is to accept the responsibility for your actions, and then your life will change in a different level, on a different level, and in a different direction. And you will amaze yourself what you can do with the greatness inside of you. The third lesson we can learn from the parable is the lesson of repentance. Though he took the responsibility to go and look for a job that would make his life better, what he realized was that the job he got was making his life more difficult than how he used to be. So he did what we call introspection, in other words, self-examination. He sat down and he told himself, "I will arise. I will go to my father and tell him that I'm not worthy to be your son, but take me as one of your servants." So sometimes when we are going through the challenges of life, what we have to do is to examine ourselves and ask ourselves this question: what brought me this far? And what can take me out of this mess? You see, the best decision that can have the greatest transformation on your life comes from you and no one else. I'm not saying you should not go for people for advice or people telling you what to do with your life, but the best decision that can make the profound transformation on your life comes from you. It is when you sit down and you ask yourself, what actually brought me here and what can take me out of this mess, you will continue to experience the difficulties you are experiencing. So when he sat down and he told himself that I'm going to my father, he took the decision, he went, and then he saw a great change in his life. So I am telling you today, it doesn't matter what you are going through. It doesn't matter how far you have come. It doesn't matter what people are saying about you. There is something about you that is different. There is something God has said about you that must come to pass. What he realized was that he is a royal priesthood. He's coming from a royal family, and his destiny is not to work in a pig farm. So he realized that, and then he stood up and told himself that I am going after my destiny. And there was a great change in his life. Whatever you may be going through, just tell yourself that it's not too late for you. It doesn't matter what people have said about you. You have to take a decision, and then you see a great transformation in your life because there is greatness in you. The fourth lesson we can learn from the parable is the lesson of forgiveness and acceptance. We were told that when he made a decision to go back home, the father was already expecting him. When he was coming, the father rather ran towards him, hugged him, and kissed him. Imagine his state of being, wearing tattered clothes and smelling, but the father didn't even bother about that. He wanted to confess and tell the father the wrong he has done, but the father didn't even let him speak about it. It tells you that God does not keep record of our sins. God still loves us. I always tell myself that I am one of the stubborn Christians, but the most loved and the most honored. Not because I am perfect, but because of the grace of God. God still loves us no matter what we are doing, no matter who we are. And all that we have to do is to accept that grace. Go back to God and he will accept us. It doesn't matter how far you have come in life. God is ready to accept us, and God is ready to make something out of us. You see, when he got there, what he did was that he knows that there is something inside of him. And then the value that has been placed on him by the Father is always there. So don't let anybody write you off for your purpose and your greatness, because God has never placed a expiry date on your purpose and your greatness. It doesn't matter how far you have come. God can still do something with you. God is still ready to use you for something beautiful and something great. God never wants you to be useless. God never wants you to do something that can harm your life. Go back to God and then accept your purpose, and God will use you for that which he has created you to become, because he's the one who created you and he knows what you can do and then what you cannot do. And hey, God said that nothing is beyond you, and there is no impossibility in the plan of God for your life. The fifth lesson we can learn from the parable is the lesson of self-righteousness and self-justification. We're told that when the prodigal son went home, the father organized a big party for him, but the brother wasn't at home. And when he came and he heard the noise of what is happening at home, he called one of the servants and asked, what is happening? And the servant recounted to him that your brother that left so many years ago is back, and then your father is celebrating him. He refused to go to the house. Then the father came and told him, what is happening? And said, look, I've been with you for all these years and you haven't done anything for me. And the father would tell him, this your brother is lost and is found. Your brother is dead and now he's alive again. Do you know what that means? It means that that is not the absence of oxygen, but the absence of purpose and lack of direction in life. So you see, when we have lost our dignity, when we have lost our purpose, we are already dead. But when we come to believe that there is something inside of us, and God has placed a value and greatness inside of us, and we are ready to champion that cause and the meaning for our existence, we are back to life again. And then the brother was so ignorant. The father told him that, look, you've been with me all these years and all that I have is yours. But he didn't know. Some of us are in the church and we've prayed to God for God to do something for us so many years and it's not happening. And we tend to blame God that God doesn't love us. God is not answering our prayers because he hates us. No. It means that maybe we don't even know how we should pray. We don't even know that what we are asking God is already there. You know what? The problem with us is that sometimes we are praying for table and chairs, but forgetting that God does not make table and chairs. God makes trees. So we have to pray for what God will do for us. Or all that we are praying for, God has already given them to us. And all we need to do is to tap into our imagination, tap into our wisdom, and tap into that giftings God has placed in us, and we'll be able to achieve our greatness in life. Please, if you like this message, don't forget to hit the subscription button and then hit the notification bell so that anytime we upload a new video on purpose and how to discover your greatness, you'll be the first to receive it. And please don't forget to leave at the comment section which of the lessons you like most in the parable of the prodigal son. And don't forget that I believe in you more than you believe in yourself. There is greatness in you. You are not useless, and God is waiting for you to take the first move, and your life will never be the same again. Stay safe and then continue to enjoy the good life God has granted to you.